Hello, my name is Michael, and welcome back to my Military Retirement Lessons Learned channel. In this video, I will discuss some lessons learned on some of the challenges, concerns, and new discoveries that you will walk through as a retiree and civilian. Now that you're officially a retiree and civilian, the challenges really begin in trying to navigate and figure out this new life and career as a civilian. I will list some of these bigger areas and discuss these in detail. Now that you're retired, you have to figure out this new environment of the civilian world related to the civilian workforce. Some of these examples are civilian companies and how they operate, civilian ways of doing things, for example, paid time off versus leave that you had in the military, processes, a lot different in the civilian sector than the military on operating procedures, guidelines, and practices. You may not have the impact or influence that you did in your military job, depending on the civilian or federal company you get a job with and your position. Talking like a civilian and not in military jargon and acronyms. This will be a hard cycle to break after 20 or more years in the military speaking in military jargon and acronyms. Applying for civilian and federal jobs. I'll talk about this more in a moment about some things not to include in your resumes and cover letters. If you're pursuing a federal job, you have to wait the 180-day waiting period before you can be hired, as I discussed in one of my previous videos on federal employment process. Making your resume impactful and getting through a company or recruiting filtering system just for your resume to make it to the first level of being looked at by a human being. And now the challenges of AI within the civilian workforce. You may be working for people younger and with less experience than you have. Difficulties and challenges in receiving responses and communication from job applications that you submit. From my experience, I had very little follow-up from many of my job applications, which was concerning, but it sounds like it's normal within the civilian job application process. Number two, some of the things you now have to figure out and navigate as a civilian. Now you have to think about what to wear every day. You can no longer wear the same thing every day as you did in the military, wearing your military uniform. Now you have to build a new wardrobe related to the type of company and or type of work that you will be doing. Also, you have to figure out what to wear for your job interviews based upon the company and or position that you're applying for. Establishing a civilian primary care manager for yourself and your family members. Why you're not getting responses back from job applications. What to include and not include on resumes based upon trial and error and continuous information learning. Now, I want to expound upon this related to my experience applying for civilian jobs. Do not include years of experience on your profile, resumes, and cover letters unless a job announcement specifically states a certain number of years experience. If a job application lists, for example, 5 years of experience in operations, then only lists 5 years of experience in operations. The reason behind this is there's this thing called ageism. I didn't believe this when I first heard about it, but after about a year as a civilian, I was attending a virtual resume LinkedIn workshop and was discussed in more detail, and it was determined that a thing called ageism really does exist. And after applying for countless jobs, including my years of experience across different areas, disciplines, skills, and training, and not getting responses back from job applications, I began to wonder why. So during this workshop, this thing called ageism was discussed. I asked questions about this to try and get a better understanding of this, and some of the big takeaways and lessons learned that I wanted to share with you regarding this are: do not put your years of experience on your profiles, resumes, and cover letters. For example, your 15 or 20 years of experience in operations, planning, training, project management, etc. If you put a plus sign after years of experience, this plus sign is interpreted in the civilian workforce as an additional 10 years. So if you put 10 plus years experience in operations, this is interpreted as 20 years of experience in operations. How or why, I don't know, but this is how this is interpreted within the civilian job market. Now, this goes against what you would think a company would want: someone with years of experience that can bring value to a company and can plug and play into a company and start work right away. Something else that was discussed was education. Do not put the year you graduated or received your degree on your profile or resumes if more than 5 years ago. This marks you with ageism as well. So just as an example, the read and feedback I received when asking questions on this thing called ageism is associated with the idea of someone with years of experience is set in their ways or has a mindset of doing things that can't or will be hard to change to comply with how a company does. Additionally, someone with years of experience may try to come in with ideas for changing how a business has been running for years, a company being against change management or process improvements. So from my understanding of this thing called ageism, this general thought process is that it is easier for a company or business to hire someone with little or no job work related experience and train them how they want things done within a company or business. These are just some of the big lessons learned and takeaways that I hope are helpful in your job pursuing process. Now, the caveat to this is that this may not apply to every company and business, but as a general consensus, it is not good practice to list years of experience in your profile, resumes, and cover letters unless specifically asked for in a job announcement. So I hope you found the information in this video valuable. If you did, please like the video. And if you want to hear more on military retirement lessons learned, please click the subscribe button and share this channel with anyone you know who will soon be retiring from the military. I will see you on my next video, and thank you for watching.